All right, hi everyone. This is your first stats recorded lesson. We actually did this lesson on Friday, March 13th, with our A day, actually our B day classes. So this is just if you weren't here that day, or if you'd like to get, if you're in our A day classes and you'd like to get the explanation on a video instead of just copying the notes. So we're just going to start off with a filled in version of the notes, just assuming that you guys, would be doing this on your own, just like in class, and then we're going to fill in the red parts in a video. And so that's what we're going to do today. I want to start with just making sure you guys actually know how to use it on the calculator too. If you don't have a calculator, you've been using one of our yellow ones, and you're at home, no big deal. Just keep using Statlet.com. It will do everything for you. If you want to know how to do it on the TI-84, I'm going to show you really quick. So first thing you need to do is have all of the values from this first list in your L1 and all of the values from the second list in your L2. So we're going to assume that this first one is our X, and then the second one is our Y. We talked about that last class. The explanatory variable is the number of accounts, and that would explain how many minutes everyone's spending on social media. And so once you have that, you're going to hit Stat Calc number 8. We like number 8 because that's the format that we use in AP Statistics for a linear equation. You should have your X list L1, Y list L2, calculate, and then this will get you your regression line. And so if you notice that we have a hat on top of this one instead of nothing, and so it's Y hat equals A plus BX, where the hat is very important. It means predicted Y value. Your A is your Y-intercept, your B is your slope, and then your X is your X variable. And so the explanatory variable. We like that format because it shows the Y-intercept first, which makes more sense because that's kind of like your initial amount. It's very important that once you have your equation written down, you define the variables. And so that would be X equals, and we'll write number of social media accounts and then Y hat equals predicted number of minutes spent on social media per day. So that is key. Now, if you want to get the R to show up, all you have to do on your calculator is go to Mode, and then go down to Stat Diagnostics, turn them on, and then you can hit Stat Calc 8 again, and this time the R should show up that we talked about last class, correlation, 0.941. It's pretty strong. Okay, next, we just plug in the value in order to predict what the Y value is going to be. Don't forget the hat, it's predicted, and then we want to have units in your answer. For number 3, you had to find out how far off your prediction was. That is called a residual. That word we use a lot, like residual income is leftover income, or a residual effect is something that happens after the fact. So that is something that shows how far off your prediction was. So it's going to be observed Y value minus predicted Y value, or as we like to say, Y minus Y hat. Now, we just did chi-square. That should be easy to remember because chi-square was observed minus predicted, or observed minus expected, and so they're the same idea. Now, number 4 says to predict the number of minutes for someone with 15 social media accounts. Would you trust this prediction more or less than the one you made in number 2? 15 accounts is a lot of accounts. The highest that we went in our table was only 7. This is a vocabulary word. It's called extrapolation. And it's in our notes on the next page, or 2 pages from now. And so that's just when you use your equation to predict something that's outside of where you started. So the highest we went was 7, and we're going outside of that to predict, for almost like predicting the future. There's a lot of extrapolating happening right now with what's going on with the virus. So that's a good example of that word. All right, we trust it less than something that was inside the data. Moving on. Let me go back one page really quick and just show the whole thing at once and make sure you have all the red in there. Any color pen, remember, is fine. So just look it over and make sure that you've got all of the notes to continue with this. Okay, so number 5, what is the y-intercept of the equation? The y-intercept is the one without a variable next to it. We say that's letter A. And so how we're going to interpret that is just basically what I wrote. The amount of minutes spent on social media for someone with 0 accounts, but it's not guaranteed. Someone with 0 accounts only spent 5 minutes on social media, but it's the predicted amount. So I'm going to add this word predicted. And before you say, how do you spend time on social media with no accounts? You can go on Twitter and stuff without having an account. I do it all the time. So number 6, slope. Slope is your change in y over change in x. It's also letter B. So I'm going to say change in y over change in x. That's the algebraic version of slope. And we can transfer that to statistics by just putting it in context. And then, of course, we need to have the word predicted as well. And we have some interpretations for you guys on the website. You just click interpretations, LSRL interpretations, and you can use those to study for your exam. All right, number 8, the main thing here is that when you plugged in your x bar, you got out the mean of the y's. To indicate mean, we just put a bar over it. And so here we have x bar, y bar. That's an order. Oops, not there. Let me undo that. X bar, y bar. And then that's an ordered pair in every equation for the line of best fit. It will pass through the point x bar, comma, y bar. And then the last thing that I'm going to say is right here, this formula. Your slope is also equal to the correlation times the standard deviation of y over the standard deviation of x. Notice how we're using the s and not the sigma because these are just from a sample. So this is the formula. This is on your formula sheet. It's also linked on the website. And so you don't need to memorize it. And you only need to use this if they give you these values in a table. Otherwise, you don't have to. So I'm going to give you guys, make sure you have all this red copied down, and then we're going to move to the next page where we have the notes filled in. We left some blanks to fill it in during class, but I'm just going to leave this here for you to copy down. You can pause the video and make sure you get all the blanks filled in. And then at this point, it would be a great idea to complete the check your understanding and then check the answer key with the completed notes online. Please make sure you email myself, Miss Pendleton, or Miss Brayland if you have any questions about this material, and we will be happy to go over it with you. Thank you.